Good afternoon and welcome back to Terrific Taste. On the menu today, chicken vindaloo. To start off, you're going to get your mise en place. You're going to take your peppers, red and green, and your onions and julienne them. I'm going to add my bay leaves and also obviously added oil to the pot. And then I'm just going to saute my vegetables and my aromatics, my bay leaf and my ginger that I sliced. I'm slicing the ginger with the skin on the outside just because it imparts more flavor. You can eat it in the stew. It's not going to hurt you, but it's pretty powerful and pretty. It'll burn your throat, but it's a delicious taste. But it's going to add to the aroma and the taste of the ultimate dish. Once that gets to going, you're just going to go ahead and add your garlic and saute it, your minced garlic, and saute that as well. And as soon as this is done, I am now going to add my spices to it. And this is my paprika, my cumin, my cayenne pepper, and my turmeric, and coriander as well. Once everything's been added and I've let my vegetables properly sweat, I am then just going to pull them off of heat and into a bowl for the meantime. Ultimately, what you're going to see me do is put these on a sheet pan. Again, I want my vegetables to stay as crunchy as I can, so if I just leave them in the bowl, they're going to continue cooking. See all the steam coming from the pan. So I want to separate those so that they don't continue to cook. So I'm going to let them cool off, and you'll see me put them in a sheet pan in about a second here. I'm leaving that pan on the grill because I'm now going to start browning my chicken in that same braising pot. And as I add my oil, a little more oil to this pot, to my braising pot, I'm just going to add my chicken to brown. Again, I'm not going to put any flour on this. It doesn't need any. I could have let it marinate in turmeric, but no need for that as well. It'll get enough in the sauce and in the braise, so it'll be plenty of turmeric in it by then. So I'm not going to add that to it. I'm just going to go ahead and let this brown by throwing it in the pot as soon as that pan gets nice and hot. And you'll see that coming up in a second. So now in goes the chicken, and then I'm going to let it brown on all sides. This is a little different than the beef. I don't need to have a perfect sear on all the sides. It's kind of, unevenly shaped anyway. But I just want to get a brown enough sear on this to help it to seal in that flavor. And again, I cut this. It's just like maybe half of a chicken. I cut the leg, the drumstick in half. I cut the wing, and I cut the breast in half and the thigh in half as well. So it's just a half a piece of chicken. Half a whole chicken rather, and I'm just going to let that brown. Now to the other side, and I'm just going to flip this, and once it's completely brown, I'm going to go ahead and take this off of heat and get it out of here, put it in a braising pot or pan, something that I can put a lid on right there. You got my hotel pan. I'm just throwing that in there. You're gonna eventually see me throw, you may already have the cinnamon in there, but I just have a stick of cinnamon in there, and I will more than likely take some more garlic, whole cloves of garlic, and throw those in as well at the braise, for the braising liquid. Now I'm gonna go straight with my braising liquid, and this is simply, I'm gonna deglaze first with my chicken stock. And deglaze just means I'm getting all that fond off of the bottom of that pan. If you have a pan like this, you want to be careful because that is steam coming up, and because the pan's so hot, it'll kind of steam pretty quickly, but because that just came out of the refrigerator, it kind of neutralizes that effect in the pan once that steam goes away. But you see the bottom, the sediment coming from the bottom, again, that's the fond that's coming up, so it literally just, that'll take that up and push it to where it needs to go. So now I'm just gonna take my whisk and stir those things around and get that flavor from the pot. Now I'm gonna start adding my spices, cumin, paprika, coriander, ultimately turmeric, and a little bit of salt and pepper, before I then pour water in this and bring it to a boil. I want this, it's so important that you have your water, when you're doing a braise, you always want that water to be piping hot, to be steaming and bubbling when you pour it over the chicken or over the meat. Because if it doesn't, then again, you're gonna have to take the time to get it to the right temp in the oven, which then ruins the timing of the braise, and it also ruins the braise. It just won't be, the meat won't be broken down in the way that you want it to be, and it'll take you way too long to finish it. So just the idea is that you want that to be bubbling, boiling hot before you pour it over the liquid, before you pour it over the product, and you'll see that coming up as well. So the next shot, you'll see this starting to boil. I add my jalapenos, the sliced jalapenos in there as well. And then you're gonna see me in the next frame pour this directly over my chicken that I have waiting. At some point now that this is coming to a rolling boil, I'm going to add my vinegar to this. I'm pulling out the ginger, but I'm pulling out a fresh jalapeno just to see you the beautiful color that turns. And then I lost it, so I'm going to come back up and try to get this. Me and Alicia are talking right now. She's telling me that I lost that piece, so I'm trying to show you guys, and she's telling me how to hold it up. So I'm just trying to show you that beautiful hue of green that it comes. That it turns, and how that's going to look at the end product. And trust me, you'll love the way this looks at the end. It's a beautiful dish, very aromatic, very tasty, but one of those that you could just eat time and time again. Like any stew, better, great on the first day, better on the third day. Just a really, really good stew. So now, as we talked about, I'm taking my liquid. I'm going to use all this liquid, pour it right in, and then put the top on, and then into the oven this goes. When I open up this oven door, set to 350, I'm going to go about 20-30 minutes with that. When I open this door, you'll see I'm also doing the beef stew that I had in there as well. I'm checking on that, and then I'm going to put my Vindaloo in next to it. Again, try to do as many of these videos in the same day as possible. Again, through the magic of editing, now since the chicken's already done, I'm just going to take this braising liquid and I'm going to thicken up the braising liquid. I'm going to pour, I think, as much of this as I can. If I can fit it all in, I will. And then I'll set the chicken to the side. I'm going to let this get up to heat. And then I'm going to go with my other ingredients. I'm putting in a cup of my canned chopped tomatoes. I'm going to let this come to a boil. Then all those vegetables that I sat on the sheet tray, I'm going to throw those straight in. You want to reserve a couple on the side just for presentation purposes, just to have that nice, the color of those vegetables sit on top, again with the jalapenos as well, not the ones that are in the braising liquid, but the fresh ones. I'm taking out a little bit, again, as I said before, I always have my extra bit of roux. I'm just getting a little bit of roux to thicken this as well. I'm going to put literally about a teaspoonful of the roux in here just to get this a little thick, so it thickens just a bit. Not much, but just a little bit. Now I'm simply going to take my vegetables, my peppers and onions, and I'm going to take about all but a few of them, so I can leave a few for presentation purposes, for garnish. Fold all those into the base of the stew. And I'm making literally 2 portions of this, so this is all I had left, which is perfect for the dish, spot on. Now I'm just going to go straight in with my chicken, and I'm going to let this heat on the stove top until that chicken is back up to temp and it's ready to go. I'm going to put my ginger, all those other things in there as well, because that's going to just give me good flavoring. And then I will finish off with a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Just making sure I get all that little stuff, all the ingredients that are in there, my cinnamon and everything else. Let this thicken a little bit, and then we're on to the plating portion of this. Last but not least for the day, we've got the chicken vindaloo with some steamed rice. I add a little bit of tomatoes for my vindaloo. I really like the combination of the turmeric and the tomatoes. It gives us this beautiful kind of almost a blood orange hue to it. And it also gives the taste, and I happen to love tomatoes. You can skip the tomatoes if you wish, but I think this makes for a beautiful dish. The jalapenos are cooked in it. I leave a little on top so people know it's kind of a spicy dish. The spice goes as you make it, meaning if you want to add less, use little to none. If you want to add more, pump it up full of spice. Be careful with it, it can get hot. Once again, chicken vindaloo with steamed rice. This is a great fall dish. Thank you for joining us. Once again, it's Chef Mark for Terrific Taste.